Hello my friends, I am the Dungeon Tutor, and today I'm answering a question for RPGaDay. This being the 14th day, it is the 14th question, or topic as it were. Today's topic is, what is your most memorable convention purchase? It's kind of presumptive, but I think most of the people who are making these videos are kind of immersed in the role-playing game community, and we love our conventions, don't we? There are so many across the United States, just for example, that in almost every state there's a convention, no matter how small the state. I'm pretty sure there's one in Rhode Island. I'm also pretty sure there's one in Hawaii. There's ones all over. I live in Wisconsin, the cradle of role-playing. So, yeah, we've got our conventions. We have big ones, we have small ones, we have ones I wouldn't recommend, we have ones that are truly tremendous. Of course, we used to at one point have the granddaddy of role-playing game conventions, Gen Con in Milwaukee. And the last one in Milwaukee was the last one that I went to, because you're probably not going to see me in Indianapolis anytime soon. Just don't like big cities, which does curtail my options for conventions. Fortunately, the ones in Wisconsin are not in big cities. There's the only exception I know of is Nexus in Milwaukee, and I used to go to Milwaukee because, well, the neighborhood around the convention center wasn't that bad, and it was worth it to go to Gen Con. Other places, if I wanted to go to, say, Fire and Ice, I believe that's in that's still a fair trip, but it's not too bad. And I go to Madison for Gamehole Con. Oshkosh used to have a nice little con called OshCon. Fairly close, but you know that's that changed. The ownership just wanted to do board and card games, and role-playing games really didn't get any support, so I stopped doing that. A new convention just opened up in Appleton called Phoenix Con, which took place in June. I wasn't able to go to that this year, unfortunately, because of life, but that's a nice little convention that hopefully will get some steam and become something special. And this year, I was blessed, absolutely incredibly fortunate enough to be able to go to GaryCon in Lake Geneva. Again, the town where role-playing games were basically first created. And it was amazing. It was so good. It was such a great experience. I got to meet Alphinius Goo from Gooey Cube. I got to see all these luminaries. It's still a small convention because it's very expensive. Lake Geneva is not a cheap place to go to. The housing is really expensive. I got in with some friends, and even that was pricey, but it was for 4 days. This isn't the kind of thing that I can do too often. So next year I will not be going to GaryCon, but maybe another year or so. It celebrates the life of Gary Gygax, which is nice. And it's run by his son Luke, which is cool. Luke is very nice. So yeah, I've been to some conventions. There are some nice conventions in the area. And that, by the way, that's just a few. There's PlatCon in Platteville. There's a lot. If you look around, there's probably some kind of a convention fairly near to you. And some people will drive hours and hours or fly to go to a convention. My friend Alphinius keeps telling me I need to go to Genghis Khan in Denver, and I'm just like, that's a little bit big for me. But one of these days I will get to Colorado Springs, and I will visit the Gooey Cube headquarters and my friends, and that'll be great. But I digress, as I often do. We are talking about my most memorable convention purchase. And when I go to conventions, I go to spend money. Let's face it, the people who are there to sell things. Either they're selling a dream with their new product that they want to sell. And I've certainly made some great purchases for those kind of things. I bought a game called Elemental Chess at an OshCon because the guy who was selling it was so down on his luck, nobody cared about his game, which was sad. Some people talked to him, but not many. He was all the way on the end of the dealer's row. I went over and I talked to him, and he's like, God, I don't even think I'm going to have enough money to to buy food and gas for the way home. So I bought a copy out of pity for the guy. I've never played it. It's not that great of a game. But, you know, he tried. He had a dream and he was there, and I felt very bad for him. So I bought it. Chess is so hit or miss. I mean, yes, in one it's here in terms of games as far as respect, but it's way down here for the number of people who play it today. Yes, I know there are chess clubs. Yes, I know there's a tournament and all that. Fine. Does anybody really care outside of this small little niche chess community? He took a gamble. This is coming from a guy who's actually kind of in development of a role-playing game that uses a chessboard and chess pieces. Whatever. That was memorable buying it from him, but the game itself, very forgettable. I bought a Japanese sword set at a convention, really cheap, on both senses of the word. And it's the set, the Katana Wakazashi Tanto, that you often will find sold in sets of 3 with a little cheap stand. It looks good. The blades are cheap. This isn't something that you want to actually use in a battle, but they look fine in my trophy case. They're okay. But you know, things like that, those are just props. As far as games that I've gotten, you know, I've bought games from the developers. Card games. I got Quest for the Hazelwood at the same time I could have been buying alpha packs of Magic the Gathering. I played it with freaking Richard Garfield at that Gen Con that they opened it up, and I did not get any of those. Gah. Anyhow, yeah, genius. I was at least savvy enough to tell my local game store owner, hey, this game Magic was actually really fun and I think it'll do well for you, and he opened up another store with the sales he got off of Magic, so I'm not that dumb. I've bought games from their creators. I bought Oubliette, which is a Fate game, from the creators. Nice folks. We had a nice talk. I like talking to the creators, finding out what their visions were, what their plans are, if their dreams have any legs. And sometimes their dreams far outpace their capabilities, but still, it's nice to talk to them. And talking to proven game designers, like when I bought Mighty Protectors, Villains and Vigilantes 3.0, from Jeff D. and Jack Herman, the creators. I mean, Jeff D. has been around the industry for a long time, and they made Villains and Vigilantes, which put them on the map as far as a team for making a great role-playing game about superheroes. There's a lot of superhero role-playing games out, and a lot of people still remember V&V. And we had a long talk about games and game design. It was really a great conversation between myself, Jeff, and Jack. And that was nice. It was really a nice time. And they signed my book. I bought it from them. They signed it. It was great. As far as non-games go, too, I've bought a few novels. I've got At Fault from Jerry Shepard, who herself is a really nice person. She's great to talk to. She's very canny as far as an author goes in modern day. And a person could learn a lot from her. But her books are pretty solid. The book At Fault is kind of a neat idea, and she says she's going to have a role-playing game for it out, maybe even now. I have to check. But you know, it's a good character novel. So all in all, pretty solid. But you know, talking about games here. And one game that I actually purchased at something that I like to do at Gamehole Con. They have a charity auction, which is basically a way for a bunch of rich gaming collectors to trade their stuff for charity. If you take a step back, it's really just something they kind of do for show for the rest of us. But, you know, like I've seen brown box D&D box sets go up on these auctions. They sell for thousands of dollars. I'm not even Not in the conversation at all. I bid on it, but there was no chance I was going to get it. You knew immediately who 1 out of 2 people were going to get it because they were just bidding against each other in the end. And even though it was a first printing, it was in awful shape. But they just wanted to add it to their hoard because that's what these people do. And it was a tax write-off for them, so why not, right? Yeah, I've been disillusioned a little bit. But still, a few things come up that even somebody who does not have a bottomless checkbook and, maybe more interest in something than the others have fallen in love with. So this is the thing that I got. To me, it's the most memorable. I got it at this auction, and it's a nice game. It's called Web of Gold. This one was originally created by TSR, made by TSR. And it's a nice board game. It's competitive. You are miners in an abandoned gold mine, trying to move around, collect as much gold as you can, using your tools, using your lanterns to see, and only having so much fuel, which is tracked by this clever little counter. And at the same time, your opponents are you have a spider that you control to try to block your opponents and possibly, try to, do them dirty. And everybody has one. So as you're going along, you're trying to get as much profit as you can and get out with the gold. So it's a neat little game. Played it with my son. It was fun. We're going to play it. We'll play it again at some point, that's for certain. But it was made by TSR. I bought it for probably a little bit more than I would have paid at a half-price books for it, but I've never seen this game before. I've never seen it since either. So it's one that I added to my gaming collection. Pretty happy I have it. And as I said, it is a nice game. It's a game for only 2 to 4 people, though. So it's not one that I get to pull out too often. Either I have more people here, or it's just me and Alex, and it has to then compete with all the other games, and some of them are just more involved, more evolved in terms of game design. So, it's a nice relic of the past. I'll just say that. So, that is my most memorable. Not because it's something that changed my life, or it gave me the game that I love to play to this day, but it's just I remember winning it at that auction and getting to be there with all of these, as I said, well-to-do gamers, and being able to get something out of it, and donate to charity, too. So, it's a charity purchase. But, that is my con purchase that I remember the most, which might surprise you if you don't think it's a role-playing game, because, like I said, I've got some memorable purchases for role-playing games and stuff, but honestly, that one just felt a little bit better. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, my friends. I am the Dungeon Tutor. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more, feel free to like, subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Feel free to notify yourself of my future videos if you do, and share with anybody who's interested in talking board games, role-playing games, card games, anything. I'll talk. But I do hope you come back for more videos, because it gets awfully lonely without you. And if you do, I hope that between then and now, you get a chance to roll some dice, play some games, have some fun, and stay safe out there, my friends. Until that next time, farewell.